Hey everyone, my name is David Dunbar, or the theme park evangelist. I had originally planned on getting up a little earlier this morning, and 8 o'clock came. I'd use the bathroom, and I was so tired. I was thinking to myself, you know what, I'll sleep for a couple of more hours, and before I knew it, it was 10, and I was still tired, so I was like, I'll just set my alarm for another half an hour, and by the time I got out of bed, it was already 11, and I ended up having a lot to do today, so, I was looking at the time and I'm thinking to myself, I really want to YouTube today because I had planned on doing that, and that was like a huge priority of mine, as well as going to CC's Pizza today. So, I thought to myself, how important is it for me to see a movie today? So I was like, it's not that big of a deal. And today, I really wanted to talk to you guys about what is the best Halloween event, like for theme parks, that is. No, obviously, I haven't fully attended every single Halloween event that I'm going to be mentioning, but I have, experienced enough about it that I can tell you, and I'm going to kind of go into that as I do today's discussion. So, um, I've heard personally that the number one Halloween event out there is Halloween Horror Nights. So, and that's going to be the first one I'm going to personally talk about. So, the reason why Halloween Horror Nights is the main Halloween event, like, period, out there for the theme parks is because of the fact that Universal goes to elaborate levels to redesign the entire theme park so that you fully feel like you are actually walking through that portion of a movie. They've had different, like, haunted houses, say, for example, the Poltergeist. I've watched Halloween Horror Nights on YouTube. I've seen the Tim Trackers version. I've just seen just random YouTubers I know nothing about just walking through these haunted houses, and I've seen the amount of elaborate detail that Universal just period puts into these haunted houses. Is just absolutely amazing, and the scare actors do an incredible job. They actually give the scare actors real chainsaws. Now the catch is there's no chain on the chainsaw, so therefore it is not dangerous. But they still literally walk right up behind you and start up the chainsaw. Now, you guys probably remember back on Saturday night that Brian was saying that he's a Gryffindor, he's brave, bring on anything to me, he can take it. Well, I challenge you then, Brian, to go to Halloween Horror Nights one Halloween, maybe even next, and do it by yourself. Don't do any research ahead of time. Just go by what I'm telling you, and then come back and tell me how you did. I can guarantee that it may scare him just a little bit, because there's no way that anybody can go to Halloween Horror Nights and not get at least a little scared. I would get very scared because Halloween Horror Nights is by far the most terrifying and the most gruesome and definitely the most popular of all the Halloween events. It's already bad enough walking through those haunted houses and just the disturbing, amazing detail that's put into it. But then, on top of the scare actors are just absolutely outstanding. I mean, for crying out loud, a lot of those scare actors are grown men. And women, for that matter. It's not like Kings Island, for example. They're all teenagers, for the most part, or young adults. Which is probably why my good friend Danny was probably one of the better ones, because she actually, A, for example, is an actress already, to begin with, and B, because she's a lot older than a lot of those guys. So, a lot of those people that were walking around, I was like, really? No, I will give Kings Island this much. You do have to be really good at your job. You have to be really good at scaring people and acting, for that matter, to be able to work in the haunted houses. Universal, of course, wants the best of the best, and that's why you don't see everybody kind of running out there. Or I shouldn't say that, but I should say that's why Universal won't just hire your average Joe to run the show, so to speak, at Universal's Halloween Horror Nights. Secondly, I wanted to talk to you guys about the second, I should say, most popular of the Halloween events. Now, this one was a hard one for me. I'm tied between Kings Island's Haunt and Busch Gardens and and SeaWorld's Hollow Scream. Both of them are incredibly outstanding, and I hate to do this, but I'm going to have to go with Busch Gardens, Hollow Scream, as well as SeaWorld's. I have actually exited Busch Gardens on a Hollow Scream night, and just that short amount of time that I was exiting, I was quite impressed with the scare actors. They were pretty good, even in the daytime. Not to mention, the props that they were using were pretty scary. There was one prop that they had pulled out that was warning everybody about like some type of zombie apocalypse, and or something to that extent. I don't remember. And on top of that, the ambiance was just like, wow. And, I was thinking to myself, it's too bad I have to leave. I kind of want to walk around and see this. I will warn you guys right now, both Halloween Horror Nights and Hollow Scream do cost extra to attend because of the fact that, well, for one thing, Universal and Busch Gardens as well as SeaWorld are just out there to get your money, but also because it does cost a lot of money to run these events. And considering how much detail Universal and Busch Gardens puts into their Halloween events, honestly, I'm not really surprised that Universal for that matter would even charge a lot. I have seen some of the haunted houses. I know for a fact at one point before Gwazi was being converted into Iron Gwazi, they were actually using that as a Halloween horror house. And I don't know if this is necessarily true of Universal, but I know of that particular haunted house at Busch Gardens, they actually had a sign up front letting you know you had to be at least 17 or older to be able to enter because it was that scary. It was that bad. I don't remember the actual name of the haunted house, but if it was that bad, then I'm just like, oh my. I probably might have seen it on YouTube, and it was pretty disturbing. I have seen some of the haunted houses on YouTube. I've even seen the Tim Tracker just kind of walking around. I've, been to Busch Gardens the day they were doing Hall of Scream. I kind of saw some of the areas where they were doing haunted houses. And, I can tell you guys from experience, it's pretty much everywhere. I do know for a fact that that whole section, as you're heading towards Shikra and the Sesame Street area, it's pretty disturbing during Halloween Horror Night, Hall of Scream. And I think that's where they put a lot of the emphasis. And of course, just like any Halloween event, you're going to find most of your scare actors waiting to greet you at the very front of the park, and then from there it's just downhill, so to speak. But the good news is we do have some Halloween events to cover that are not necessarily disturbing. The third best Halloween event is going to be a little harder to do. Part of me wants to say Kings Island Haunt, but at the same time, for someone who's only really walked around the park, for one thing, I can say the same thing almost about Halloween Horror Nights or even Hall of Scream. However, though, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of those events for years, and, I've known both of th versus I've only known about Kings Island's Haunt for just a couple of years. And just, me personally, yes, I would say it is an extremely cool event, a Halloween event. However, though, I don't know if I'm going to put it necessarily on number three. No, I'm not going to count the new Disney Halloween event because of the fact that compared to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, I've heard it's trash. So, instead, we're left with the following options for number three. We have Legoland's Brick or Treat, or Kings Island's Trick and Treat, or Kings Island's Trick and Treat Festival. Trick or Treat, sorry. So I had to say or twice. So, or of course, Haunt. So the real question is, what should go in spot number three? Well, coming from an overall experience, I would personally say that Legoland would probably win for number three, and that's because more people know about Legoland's Brick or Treat more than Kings Island's Haunt. Now, a lot of people in general know about Haunt. Now, if we were to say out of the three, which is better, Haunt, the Tricks or Treat, Fall Fest, or Brick or Treat, obviously, if it was just generic Haunt, then Haunt would be number three. However, though, I'm just talking about Kings Island's Haunt. So, with that being said, we're going to go with Legoland's Brick or Treat. Because more people know about Legoland's Brick or Treat over Kings Island's Haunt. So the reason why Legoland's going to win for number three as well is because of the fact that it's an incredible family-friendly event. A lot of families like to take their kids to this event. It's a great way to walk around Legoland and just enjoy the day. Be able to look at like the Halloween decorations that they have. Be able to ride some rides with your kids, and then of course allow your kids to kind of go down the Halloween trails. And the workers are extremely friendly and polite, and they love the kids. They love them. Coming up and spending time with or getting their like trick or treat, their candy and seeing their costumes. And it's an event that's been around for quite a while now. So that's another reason why Legoland wins for number three. Alright, we're down to our last two. We're still tied between Kings Island's Haunt and whatever you call it, the Tricks and Treats Festival. I'm not going to use Shamu's Halloween Spooktacular for that matter, because the only thing that makes the SeaWorld Halloween Spectacular, whatever you call it, different from Legoland's Brick or Treat is the fact that there's a couple of Halloween themed shows that SeaWorld puts on every year. But that's literally the only thing that makes it different from Legoland. Otherwise, it's set up almost identical to Legoland. There is like almost no difference. And as far as Disney, well, when we actually had Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, I would put that way up there on the list, because Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party gave you the opportunity to get tons upon tons of candy. A lot of guests would come dressed in their cool costumes, and the park was always so packed. A lot of people were getting on the rides in their costumes. And a lot of people are able to go and ride different rides. You had a couple of different rides that had like Halloween overlays. Tea Party always did one every year. Unfortunately, due to COVID, it no longer exists. As, dumb as that sounds. So Disney decided, well, we're going to replace it with something else. And I'm like, really? So yeah, I wasn't overly happy about that. But at the same time, I'm just like, it's just one of those things, I guess you could say. But nonetheless, number four is an easy Kings Island's Haunt. So, Kings Island's Haunt, if you've never been there before, the very first thing that invites you in is all the lights have, or all the water shows going on with all the lights turned on, and it's showing now a colorful water show. Now they have these torches or flamethrowers. There's like four of them, one on each corner of the water, and all the torches are taking turns going off. They're all on a timer, and it's kind of cool how they do that. And they have this really loud, like, rock and roll music going on. You got scare actors walking around the park trying to scare you. You can actually watch my YouTube video. It's currently my YouTube video that I want you guys to see whenever you click on my YouTube channel, but I change it up every time I publish a new YouTube video as long as it's a YouTube video that I want you guys to see, you could say. Like, for example, if I were to do another How I Met Kay and TJ video, well, that's not as important as, like, say, for example, one of my awesome discussion topics vlogs, which I do actually put on my YouTube video page or whatever. So, there are some really cool Halloween haunted houses at Kings Island. The most popular by far is Kilmart, from what I've heard. I've also heard that Slaughterhouse is really cool. There's also a couple of others that are like number one. You have to go and see them. Like, if you're there, you have to. I've heard the roller coasters are super cool to ride in the dark. So there definitely, are some reasons to go to Kings Island's Haunt every single year. And last but not least, as I get near the 20-minute mark, I'm trying harder to get these discussion topics a little shorter so I'm not boring you guys to death anymore. And that is the Kings Island's Tricks and Treats Festival, which literally started last year. I personally feel like Kings Island's employees just don't have the same attitude as the kids. Like, if you're looking at it from a guest perspective, like, for example, a kid, then yeah, the kids absolutely love it because of the fact that now they get to have their own Halloween event where they get to walk around the park and they get to get all this free candy. But if you're looking at it from an adult's perspective, even a YouTuber's perspective for the matter, you're now seeing that not all these Kings Island's employees, I guess you could say, are overly happy about it. They feel like we're not being paid enough to stand around and just give candy to kids. They would rather be out there scaring guests to death. So, coming from that perspective, yeah, I could definitely see that the attitude of the teenager or teenage employees are just not there. They're just not happy about the job whatsoever. And I feel like in some ways Kings Island should just go back to having their Halloween event inside of the Planet Snoopy area, which they seem to like that a lot better. However, though, I do like the addition of the tasting your way around Kings Island. I definitely think that should stay for sure because that seems to be a really big hit. And I also do like the fact that this event is held on Saturdays during the day as well as Sundays. Sundays are actually the best day of the week, to attend this event because it's not only quiet, but you don't have to deal with the haunt guests, and then you also don't have to fear about your kids accidentally seeing a scare actor just walking around the park. Neither event cost extra to attend, which is amazing as well. Both of them are included in your daily admission as well as Winterfest, which we'll be talking about later on in the year. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next vlog. And always remember, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Have a great day. Peace out.